Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here. Now that my obligatory informative videos are done for the day, it's time to talk about current events in the online fitness community. And a few people have sent me links to this video. And I guess it's an interview that Steve Hall did with Dr. Mike Israetel. And a lot of people were unhappy with what Mike had to say regarding strength and size. So let me go ahead and put on my +5 out of Speechcraft, lovingly called my +5 out of autism by many of you. And let's talk about this. All right, I'll go ahead and I'll link the video below and kind of the timestamp. It's about 27 minutes into where he discussed this whole concept. And I think where some people's objections to what Mike said is that he really used examples of elite level, ultra elite level power lifters who are very heavily enhanced and kind of said, look, if size and strength were completely correlated in the sense of getting as strong as possible would make you as big as possible, then this would be a problem. Because how would you even train someone like this? I think the example he used, he said, look, you take either one of these guys, Larry Wheels or Milanichev, and how would you even put them on a hypertrophy program on the leg press? The amount of weights and stuff they would have to use. And I'm going to pick that part apart, and then I'm going to agree with everything else Mike said. But I'm going to put it in context. I'm going to pick that apart because, yeah, let's be honest here. The leg press is a show-off lift, and it's a girl lift. Let's just call it what it is. Because, yes, if you are really strong, you can't load enough plates on the leg press to get enough workout. You can't. The only guys who are repping out and getting big legs on the leg press are heavily enhanced bodybuilders who have a very, very low amount of leg strength. Because for everyone else, it's just too easy. And I've said that before. The people used to say, oh, you're lying about what you used to leg press. I'm like, no, I'm not. And it's not impressive. And that's the point. That's the point I've been making. If you reach a certain threshold, you're going to need 2,000 pounds for high reps on a leg press in order to get a good workout out of it, right? To get enough stimulating effect, because it's just not that difficult for a strong squatter to do. Like a 1,500 pound leg press for sets of 10 is indicative of a man who's not a particularly strong squatter, right? Not particularly strong. That's why you had guys like Ronnie Coleman doing sets of 30 with over 2,000 pounds. And he's not even close to the strongest squatter out there. Perspective. It's a silly-ass lift. So here's what I would say. Well, then quit doing silly-ass leg presses and go do other exercises where you don't have to load up as much weight. I mean, a perfect example. What do I do right now? For quad hypertrophy, what do you guys see me doing? Even though I do max effort work, dynamic effort work, I do heavy singles. I'm doing belt squats for sets of 10. Belt squats, where I'm getting up on two boxes, like plyo boxes, and squatting with plates hanging between my legs on a belt. With moderately light weight. Again, these are light weights. But sets of 10 on that actually gives me the training effect I want. So I don't have to load 2,000 pounds onto a leg press slide. So problem solved, guys. Problem solved. Use exercises that if you're going to use a smaller exercise to grow something, not a big deal. It's like I feel like he spun some of that in a negative because of silly goofball exercises like the leg press. Well, yeah, the leg press is impractical for strong people. It is impractical. But that doesn't mean you shouldn't get strong because the leg press is a problem. Like forget the leg press. Just forget it exists. Then we don't even need to worry about this nonsense. But he did raise the point of how do you take someone like that and put them on an effective hypertrophy program, because, I mean, the amount of workloads they have to handle is high, but it's like just because they already have massive development. They already have massive development. And I think this isn't a realistic answer for a drug-free lifter or a very modestly enhanced lifter. Let's be honest here. You guys are not going to get strong enough when strength training that you're going to have these sort of problems when you pick other exercises to do your higher rep work in. I don't see it as really a practical problem. Yes, it's a practical problem for world-class level lifters on grams of gear. Right, okay, fine. That doesn't involve 99% of the training world. This is a complete non-issue for everyone else, even for relatively elite lifters in lighter weight classes. It's just not that big of a problem. It really isn't. And it's certainly not a problem for someone like Steve Hall, who is still kind of base building in a lot of ways. He still has a long way to go as far as a strength and a size base goes. I like the guy. Been on my Facebook friends list for years. Decent enough guy, but he could stand to get stronger. It would thicken him up because he's pretty small in a lot of areas that he could stand to thicken up a bit, well within his drug-free limit. But we come over to the point, and I think this is what people miss. He was talking about, well, strength in a rep range, and I think where the confusion comes in is that what are we talking about for getting stronger? Are we talking about maximizing your 1 rep max strength? Well, I'm all about that, but I mean, I'll be the first to admit, based on my own experience, my DEXA scans, everything else, that if you're training nothing but heavy singles, which almost no one does, growing is a little bit difficult. That's not the best way to get big. But by that same token, everyone who's trying to gain size is going to have to get stronger. And it's like, I feel like Mike kind of created the disparity of saying, well, that's not really the key to size. But in a way it is, isn't it? It's still about workload. It's still about workload and volume, and you're going to have to add weight to the bar. And I think that's where the confusion breaks down. And I mean, Mike's a perfect example. Mike just the other day after this interview was talking about his upper chest, and he's like, look, a lot of things we do for upper chest. He goes, but I also can do 10 reps with 335 on the incline bench. If I couldn't do that, I probably wouldn't have the upper chest that I have. And therein lies the point we come over to. There is still that overlap with size and strength. Does that mean that you have to train max effort singles? Or that's the key to getting maximum size? No. But we kind of come back over to that point of it's not, I don't feel that it's a negative either. It really isn't. And I don't think that we need to break that apart like that. And here's the other point I would make. We should all be strong. Like if a person came to me and says, my only goal is to get as big as possible and I don't care about strength, I'm not interested in helping that person. I'm just not. I'm not saying, hey, I've got a problem with someone saying they want to get as big as possible. I have no issue with that. But for someone to actually not care about strength and to not care about their performance at all, they're basically just saying, I want to be a useless piece of shit. That's basically what they're saying. You might as well just be a communist or something at that point. You're just like, I just want to be a useless piece of shit and put on a show. I can't understand that philosophy. And I'm going to say that getting strong doesn't ever hurt your size. And that's where my point of contention is going to be, barring maybe some very, very extreme examples in the elite lifting world. Everybody else, this is a non-issue. And the other point that he made, he was talking about in the rep ranges, and I'm not going to disagree with that. Some people are like, well, are you going to disagree with that point? No, he was saying, look, he would like to see novice lifters get strong in the 5 to 10 rep range, right? That's a real good point to do it at, and he broke down his reasons. Well, what are all my novice programs? Go ahead, guys. What rep ranges are you guys doing in all of my novice programs? 5 to 8, 5 to 10. Do I have novice lifters doing triples or singles? No. Do I have novice lifters other than maybe crunches or face pulls or something doing 20 plus? No. I don't have them doing 30s. So let's be realistic here. Is the 5 to 10 a real good sweet spot for most novice lifters? Yeah. And I mean, let's come back over to the point with the size and strength. And I think he highlighted a good point. Okay, maximum strength, meaning, again, getting as strong as possible at your singles, which is a skill that is largely dependent upon size, then combined with motor unit learning and neural efficiency and things. Right? Size is still your biggest parameter there. So I guess the point we need to make is that what he said is that strength is a side effect of size. But size is not necessarily directly caused by maximum strength. And I will agree with that up to a point. I'm going to disagree with that point. But if you want maximum strength, you're going to have to get maximum size. And I think the gambit does work both ways. We come back over to that point of, I think that there is overlap and there is some carryover of getting very strong at your heavy lifts will carry over slightly to your 8 rep max and your 10 rep max and those things. And it does matter. And that's where we get into training periodization and everything else. And we come back over to the point. At no point are you going to take a drug-free lifter who's trying to maximize size and have them do nothing but sets of 10 either. We're still always going to vary rep ranges. We're still going to do heavier work for them. You're still going to do lighter work for them. There's still going to be some periodization. There's still going to be a variety of rep ranges. You're not going to come in and train someone who's even trying to maximize size and have them do nothing but 10 rep sets. Now, I like to come in and do 10 rep sets personally. Why? Because that size carryover, it's easier workload on a lot of lifts to recover from, especially more smaller exercises. It carries over to my strength builds. thickness where I want it makes me stronger. Because being bigger will make you stronger unless you're dealing with it through a disparity that's created through massive drug abuse combined with specific training protocols, right? That's where you run into the problems. Drug abuse and more frequently combined with very light training is what causes that. And that's kind of the point he made of, but you do see these bodybuilders who use these really light weights and they're massive and they're doing 10 to, 20 to 30 reps mostly. Yeah, but they're also using very copious amounts of gear. They're using copious amounts of gear. They're not using small amounts. And I think that matters in the context of this discussion because let's be realistic here. Nobody out there who's natural is going to get massive, in my observation or anyone else's observation, doing nothing but sets of 20 to 30 either. So we kind of come back over to that point of, I understand what he's saying and I would agree that if you are only training, not training for, but purely training maximum strength, no, that probably isn't the best route to get big. And I don't think anyone's really arguing that. Other than when we mess with Bulgarian training, and I've like it and I've used it, but I'll be the first to admit you don't really grow particularly well on it. Doing nothing but heavy singles, it's kind of difficult to grow from. Not really even close to ideal. But we come back over to this other point of that there is a continuum with size and strength, and the rep ranges can feed into each other, and there can be benefits to all of it. So I feel like it's really tit for tat because at the end of the day, we're all training a combination of higher and lower reps to some extent, and the more advanced you get, the more you have to utilize these different tools in the toolbox to reach whatever your goals happen to be, whether they are pure maximum strength or you're wanting a certain amount of hypertrophy and body composition. Look, you're going to have to train these different elements to some extent if you want to maximize what you're doing. This is not always so true for people who are less advanced, but the more advanced you get, the more of an issue this becomes. And we all just have to accept that. So I didn't always like the phrases that he used, the way that he worded, or maybe the examples that he gave. But if we come down to the crux of the matter, Mike is essentially right there. And I'm not really going to have a big philosophical disagreement with him there because I don't think that he's really wrong. And if I did, you guys wouldn't see me doing some volume work with higher reps on different lagging body parts and things, right? You guys see me doing higher reps on JM presses, incline benching, lateral raises, glute ham raises, belt squats, right? Rows. I do those things, even though I do a lot of work in the 1 to 3 rep range. I still do volume in these others also. Why? Because I need the overall thickness improvements. And it's real hard to get enough training volume in to maximize hypertrophy, particularly in some of your smaller lagging muscles. It's really hard to do it in the 1 to 3 rep range. It's difficult. Difficult if not impossible. Right? So we do need a variety of tools in our toolbox, and you can't be dogmatic about it. All right, guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time.